Let's go. Okay, speed versus strength. Now, I could have said speed and strength if I said speed versus strength, and you'll see why. The two most overrated qualities in track and football: strength and conditioning. You know, that already, it kind of pisses off the S&C crowd. You know, I'm sorry, but I wish they would rename it speed and explosion or something. You know, like conditioning makes you slow, so that sucks, and strength is overrated. And infinite strength should never be the goal. The evolution of strength and conditioning: the prototypical football coach was a slow-footed, try-hard weight room grinder. You know, you have to start with that. You have to start with the idea that the average coach was slow. Matter of fact, in baseball, over half of all major league managers played what position? Catcher.
First base.
The slowest person, right? The slowest. The typical NBA coach, usually the off guard, the Steve Kerr type, not really the fastest guy. You know, I don't think Bill Belichick won any races. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we're talking about typically the Randy Mosses of the world do not become football coaches. They're the try-hard guys, the guys that gave their heart and soul to the game and all that. So we start with that. Then we go here. In 1967, Bob Devaney of Nebraska was the first college AD to hire a strength coach. His name was Boyd Epley, and he was a bodybuilder. Of course he was. The weight room began with bodybuilders and powerlifters. It's important to note that. Now, it is interesting because Boyd Epley changed the way college football was done. The average Husker in 1970 weighed 212 pounds. I didn't do it for this past year, but I did it for the year before. And the 137 players had an average weight of 237. That's a huge difference in players between back then and now. The fact that no one at Nebraska could bench press 300 pounds in 1970 sounds crazy. Because aren't there like high school kids? Don't all high schools have a 300-pound bench presser? I mean, somebody with alligator arms and barrel chest, 300 pounds. But it's just crazy to think that a Division I football team would have nobody. Dan Casey, my good friend from North Carolina, sent me this picture, and he said, "Do you think this guy's getting Oregon players faster?" I said, "Can I tweet it?" And he says, no, leave me out. No. You know, yeah. But hell no, he doesn't get guys faster. And I don't trust guys with mustaches like that. You know, this guy, he was in Nebraska, then USC, now he's with the Seahawks. But, you know, this is the modern state of S&C, especially for football. This is one of my favorite dudes, you know. And this was another guy that Curticus railed on. The Flying Fijis here, and they are working out in sand, and the guy's talking about pain is your friend. You got to go through hell to get to where you're going, and then pain is your gift from the gods. Actually, it said pain is the gift from the gods of war. And somehow this is like recruitment stuff, and like people get excited. There's something in our DNA where we want to like rip people's heads off and all that kind of stuff, and I don't understand it. That's too bad that we didn't have that though. I said this yesterday, that athletes should never be sore from training. This is Charlie Francis. He was a high performance coach, whereas the weight room says no pain, no gain. I actually got a text just now from a random dude, and he said, I've been reading your stuff, I'm very intrigued, but doesn't muscle overload, blah, 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 isn't that what we're after? And I'm like, yes, for hypertrophy, to build muscle, yeah, that overloading is what we want, but bigger muscles does not equate to being faster. Just doesn't. Okay, this is fun too. Scott Frost put out this video in the dark of night. They shipped everybody to some beach and had military people barking in their face, and they're crawling on their hands and knees, and you know, you don't let down your brother, you know, just SEAL training type stuff. And I think I tweeted tweeted out and said this is bullshit, and the whole entire Husker Nation just went nuts. I mean, it's like, go home, you commie snowflake, son of a bitch, you know. And I mean, it was like really, really bad. And I understand, you know, that it's a recruiting video, basically. They're trying to get people to want to go to Nebraska, and by throwing military stuff up. And I, respect our veterans and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't like the military model at all. And I think it's important to also note that when Scott Frost's team played at Minnesota this year and got their ass beat, that Scott Frost stood at the podium and threw his team under the bus for wearing hoodies before the game. Like wearing a hoodie made you a pussy or something.
While wearing a hoodie.
While he wore a hoodie. Thank you, Coach. He was wearing a hoodie himself. Oh, I'd like to punch him in the face. But anyway. So, high school football coaches copy the process of reality TV stars, recruiters of freaks, cheats, first-round draft choices. College football is a rigged game in a billion-dollar entertainment industry. My point here is that what Alabama does should have no bearing on what we do. We should not look to Alabama for our off-season programs. It's just not right. And from the people I talk to, they act like Alabama is an archaic strength and conditioning program. They do a lot of crazy stuff. I asked a friend of mine, he's actually a friend of Kurt's too, I said, what is the number one problem in football S&C? And he said, everybody wants to know, what does Alabama do? They want to copy the process of success, and really the process of success is recruiting freaks, cheats, and first-round draft choices. That's what it's all about. So you probably should go check with the strength and conditioning coach at Appalachian State. You know, like somebody who upsets the big teams, that maybe that's better, or better yet, go visit a high school. Okay, I talked about this earlier today, speed, power, misdirection. That's the 3 ways to win the war. And I think that power and misdirection's well done, and speed's neglected. I wonder why speed's neglected. Couple reasons. I think that people see that speed is like a locale on the genome. It's like totally, you either got it or you don't. There is no question that every fast guy I know was a phenom before he met his first good coach. Every fast guy I know. Like every phenom I know. There are kids that come in to my program running 5.4 and then running 4.4. And those are the kids I feel like I had the most impact on. However, Marcellus Moore was a phenom. I mean, the summer, okay, I did have him 2 weeks in camp, but he was 13 years, no, he had just turned 14 and he ran 10.81. Now later, he was still 14, ran 10.40 for me. But that was, that's pretty fast for age 14. So, matter of fact, that's a world record for age 14. Sprinting is the foundation of sprinting, of course. Okay, important stuff. Is rowing a good physical strength exercise? Good exercise? Sure. However, this has no impact on speed. 0. So the reason why I'm saying this stuff is because when people say that strength is a component of speed, I say yes. Now, when they say that weightlifting makes you faster, I say no. So you don't plant beans to grow corn. Once again, it's a great exercise. Really good for you. I mean, he has big, strong shoulders, good aerobic content. I mean, they are terrific athletes, but there's nothing you can do in the water that makes you faster. And there's no doubt that this guy is a good athlete. I mean, he's a big, strong dude, he's really good in the weight room, but there's no way I could go in any weight room and pick my 4x1 team. People say, well, Olympic lifts, maybe, but I think the only thing the Olympic lifts tell me is it tells me what big guys are strong and explosive, but they're still not like 4x1 guys. The focus of most sports should be on increasing speed reserve. That's another way of saying max speed. If If we can take somebody from 21 to 23 miles an hour, that is a huge, huge thing. Now, it's interesting with miles per hour. One of the things I love about the bands that we have nobody in our school right now that's 23 miles per hour. We have like 5 kids that are 22, and they're all fast, good high school track athletes. They feel like they should hit 23 miles an hour soon. But the difference between 22 and 23 is like the difference between being good and being all-state. You know, like it's a huge difference. But they feel like it's reachable, which I kind of like that. Just keep them working at it. I talked about this last night. How do you train speed? We want to train as fast as possible, as often as possible, staying as fresh as possible. This has nothing to do with the weight room. This has nothing to do with the weight room. Remember that when we talk about as fast as possible, if you just say go run fast, that's not sprinting. You need to wear spikes, you need to time them, you need to record the times, you need to rank the times, you need to publish the times. When you do all those things, then they're going to run full speed. A story of a 8-year-old at my speed camp runs a 10-meter fly in 2:15. That's probably doable by all of us. We're probably all that fast. 2:15 is really, really slow. That's a 20-second 100 meters, okay? 21-second 100 meters. That's really, really slow. So I said, sprint! And, you know, I tried to get him, he went slower. And then, so I lined up everybody, and we clapped and all that stuff, and I said, $20 if you run under 2. I don't know if it's the $20 or the clapping, but he ran 1.74. I mean, like, incredibly different. That kid had never sprinted before in his life. When you tell somebody to sprint, they're going to run fast, but they don't really push it. So you really have to push it to get faster. And you don't get faster by lifting more weights.